Hey everybody, good afternoon. Can you hear me? That is my first question. I did a test earlier and everything seemed to be okay, but I want to check right now to make sure. We'll be joined by Bjorn here in just a moment. Garrett Coleman, hello, good afternoon. All right, good, thank you. Appreciate hearing that. Thanks for confirming. All right, we've got people slowly coming in here.
Hey,
what is up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Let me turn up my volume a little here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, there we go.
Put you up here. All right, we got people coming in here slowly. So you used to be able to, with StreamYard and Zoom and other third-party apps, be able to use them in groups, right? So we could do this live in a group. They changed that about 2 weeks ago, unbeknownst to everybody. So we're having to kind of reconfigure this. We have to do it actually in a studio and record it. So we'll get people in here. It might be a few minutes. But we'll do a rebroadcast in Pad Life, so it'll definitely be worth your while. We did one with Andrew. Good afternoon, sir. We did one with Ruben Rock last week that went over really well, and it's gotten a ton of views, so it's definitely paying off. It's just a different kind of vibe than being live in Facebook. So you have people just showing up randomly and, asking questions and everything else. Eric Valentine, good afternoon, buddy. So, yeah, we'll have people coming in here in just a few minutes. Anyway, in the meantime, you own Hydra Clean Northwest. You've been around a while, quite a while. I'd say I'll let you tell us here in a moment, but over a decade for sure. And you've always kind of been quiet, reserved. You still are, but you're actually a little more out there now, I'd say, in the last year or two than in the past. But tell us a little bit about your background, where you started, what you started with, kind of like the evolution of Hydra Clean, because it's been a journey, like most people, but yours even more so. So
yeah, but before Hydra Clean, I was actually in landscape construction. So sorry if you hear my chair squeaking.
That's okay. You were a contractor?
Yeah, so I had a landscape construction business. I did a little bit of maintenance for a while, but then I realized, I wanted to get into the much bigger tickets, and so we would do patios, rock walls, staircases, that kind of thing. And so we worked for a couple pretty big home builders, and they would send us projects for where they would build 3 or 4 homes in knock down an old house, build 3 or 4 new ones. And then we would come and do the patios and pathways and stuff like that. So that's where I started in home services. Only job I ever had was at a grocery store pushing carts. That was when I was like 16.
Wow. So you went straight into entrepreneurship, huh? Right away.
Yeah, landscaping. I think I was getting started in that. I was probably like maybe 19 or 20, and I had no idea what I was doing. Still, even when I got out of that business, I still didn't know what I was doing, and still figuring a lot of things out. But with Hydra Clean, so I started in cleaning because I saw we were doing these big custom projects all the time with landscaping. Like these things would take a month or 2 months, pretty good sized tickets. But I realized I would never be able to separate myself from the actual work with those kind of projects. So then cleaning carpets specifically was looked attractive to me. And then I knew a guy in the business, his health was failing. And he passed me commercial contracts. So for some hospitals. So that when I very first started cleaning carpets, it was only commercial and it was all hospitals. And I did not have VLM then. So we were I was doing it with a portable, and it was absolutely miserable. Suffered through that for a while, realized I wanted to do residential, and just kind of dove into going after the residential stuff. And
so you started with a portable extractor. You started in commercial largely, and then moved into residential, and still with a portable at this time. What year is this, by the way?
2008 to 2009. Okay. Maybe dragged a little into about 2008, 2009.
Okay, so you've been about a little over 15 years actually in this business.
Yep, a lot of that was spent in my 20s not super serious about the business and really trying to grow it. I was like exhausted when I got out of the landscaping around like 25 or 26, because that was a rough business to be in.
Right.
A lot of stress.
Right.
Yep.
Anthony brought up a good point. Recession business. You know, how did you fare starting the carpet cleaning business in the middle of a recession?
Well, I was immediately past these hospital contracts, so that I went straight into that, and they were like every week doing them. So a couple campuses, they weren't just like the off jobs. Like this was all the buildings and all the floors at a couple different hospitals here in Seattle. And so we would just go from like East Wing one day to West Wing the other day. By the time you had gone through the whole campus, it was time to do the next, like the first one again. And that's how they wanted to schedule it. But no pre-spray was allowed. The only product that they would authorize was Matrix all fiber rinse. For whatever reason, like that was their
interesting
hospital code or something. So yeah.
Wow. And you just put it in the fresh tank and then just basically run it.
Yeah. It's just like terrible results. Like you never really got hardly anything out. They just wanted it rinsed. They had guys spinning pads already. So our like that was our job, was just to like rinse that pretty much.
Right. Yeah. So you're, like you said, you're kind of in your 20s at this point and kind of figuring things out. When did you really buckle down and decide that you wanted to grow a business, and what did you do to actually grow it? I know you made some mistakes along the way, which we'll talk to, but what was like your first step towards actually building a solid business?
First step was just getting more involved in the marketing. I first like went the Angie's List route, back early Angie's List. It worked really well back then for a while, before they broke it. At some point they had hired like the CEO of Groupon.
Right.
And that's when they just absolutely tanked. But for a while, like Angie's List was really good. We were getting lots of leads on there, booking, multiple jobs a day with a pretty low spend. So
got it. And then were you answering the phones?
What was that?
Were you answering the phones and booking the jobs yourself?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. And then how soon until you brought on an employee?
That was like actually around 2012. Yeah.
Okay. So for the first 4 years, you were basically owner operator.
Yeah. And then I still like owner operated for quite a while after that, off and on, like not off the truck until like the last, kind of 3 years. But I would go through times where I'd be off the truck for like a year, back on the truck, employee problems, stuff like that. Just trying to figure things out.
Yeah. That's kind of a refrain we hear from a lot of cleaners, right? They kind of go back and forth, especially some of the newer ones. I'm going to have employees. I'm not going to have employees. Changing mind a lot. When did you buckle down and say to yourself, I got to have employees. I have to make this a part of my business?
Oh, well, that was always a thought, for a long time. And I, I got there, but then you'd start having a problem with a particular employee. And then, so, they would go bye-bye. Got to hop back on the truck for a little while, but now it's kind of at the point where I haven't really been back on the truck in a while. Haven't done a carpet cleaning job in a pretty long time. What
would you attribute that to?
Man, it's really easy the one thing I guess I just realized is like, if you have an employee and they end up calling in sick, there's a certain point where you just have to accept that you got to reschedule the job. And some people might disagree with me on that. But if you're always like jumping in to pick up that slack, then every single time you do that, it puts you back on the truck. And you just got to make it work. You got to, if you're going to decide to stay off the truck, you just got to stay off the truck and keep yourself busy doing other types of work. And it sucks to reschedule on a customer, but you just have to kind of have that mindset that like, that's the employee's job. I used to always fill in like every little thing. Anytime any little issue happened, I would like jump to the rescue. But then that kind of keeps you in that just like forever getting pulled in a million directions. And then so like something happens, I guess like what I figured out is if that happens, just, you know, that day is maybe lost and just do whatever you can to not lose the customer. But then plan so that it doesn't happen again in the future and spend that day off rather than going out and getting back on the truck to save the day like a hero. You know, spend that time to figure out like why that happened and how it's not going to happen again in the future.
Sure. So I'm going to bring up one question that's there's two great questions that came in, but I'm going to start with the one that's more relevant to this part of the discussion. That's from Wes Wagner, great guy. What pay structure works best for employees, hourly, percent? Because I was actually going to follow up with that because I'm assuming that you must have somehow maybe reconfigured your relationship with your employees, right? Because to me, it's, like I told Steve Pike 2 weeks ago in our conversation, money, recognition, future, like those in that order. Those are the three things I think matter most to any employee: how much you're getting paid, recognition for your work, and then knowing that there's, you know, a future in the company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How would you view that?
So, how would I view that, or did you want me to answer this question there?
Well, go ahead and ask what's the question first, and then we'll go with my question or my statement.
Yeah. So we use pay for performance. There's a bunch of different pay for performance systems out there. We use one that's kind of a mix between Hourly IQ, which is a software that we tried for a little while, a really, really cool software, by the way, but we don't use it just because it's really good if you have like over 10 employees. Then it's awesome. We're not at that level, so we kind of backed off from using it because it is $150 a month just to run it. But we took some stuff from Hourly IQ, and then we use a mix of another guy, Mike Andes, has a really good pay for performance system. If you've seen him on YouTube, really successful guy in the lawn care business that's actually from this area. So
okay.
Well,
and
yeah, basically
pay per performance. Go ahead, please go ahead.
It's pretty simple. Like what you do is you take a week. It's calculated on a weekly basis. And so they have their base rate. For us, it's about 26 an hour. Cause I mean, this is, we're in Seattle, so you got to pay guys a little more. And then you take the week, you add up all their hours at the end of the week, and then they get the better of the two. You decide on the percentage that you like to pay. And then whichever one is higher, that's what they get. So most of the time they're always ending up on percentage, but you want to kind of structure it so that percentage is like a big incentive. But to be eligible for the revenue sharing or the performance pay, they have to complete all their duties. So now like they got to get the laundry done. They have to wash the pads. They have to keep the truck clean. Their power cord's got to be wound up. You can make this huge list of things that have to be done. And if they're not done, then they lose it for that week. And we haven't really had to ding anyone yet. It just works really well. But if like the commission is way too close to hourly, it's not going to work terribly well. Like it should be
it's basically a draw versus commission.
Yeah, basically. Yep. And then we have some other bonuses structured in there as well. And some penalties. So
guys, okay, gotcha. And I was asking, is a lot of their commission based on the ability on add-ons in the home?
No.
So it's just based on the jobs you're giving them.
Yeah, it's the total for the job, basically.
Okay.
And
is there any incentive for add-ons or?
Yep. Yeah. So the way that works is like for us, we're at 25% of their job. But if they upsell anything, it's a 10% bonus. So now anything that they're like, say they add a couch for an example, we like to add area rugs on site because that's like really high value for the customer. Even though it's not a rug wash in a like a wash pit, it's still really convenient for them. They don't have to haul it anywhere. And for us, it doesn't take very much time at all, and we get pretty good results doing it. So say we're selling a rug and they add like a couple rugs to the job, they're going to get 35% on those. So anything added after the fact is a 10% boost. So they're still going to get the 25%.
Oh, I see. 30. Okay.
Of the job, but then it goes up by 10%. So they're getting 35%. And that's way more than enough incentive to get them to actually like want to add stuff on.
So do you add 10% to the actual original ticket then? Is that what you're saying as well? Because you say it's 35% of the total.
They get 35% of that upsell. So like a really common upsell for our duct cleaning technician is he sells sanitizer on almost every job. And those are like usually about $200. It can be 250. So he's going to get 35% of that 200.
Okay. Okay. You said 10% earlier. I thought you were giving them 10% of the add-on.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Let me explain it better. So he gets 25% of the total job.
Right.
But then on that sanitizer, it goes up by 10%.
Okay. So it's 25 plus 10.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it. So they get basically 35% of their add-ons.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's excellent. Because when you said 10% earlier, I'm thinking to myself, when I was going to wait to say, I'm like, wow, that's not much of an incentive.
No.
Because to me, 10% is not even, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's nothing.
No, yeah, they're getting 25%.
Very good.
Yeah. But then if they don't do what they need to do to get performance pay, that sucks. They still get 10% of that upsell. But if they end up on hourly, they lost their
No, I that totally makes sense. What do you have quotas set up do they have to have a certain number of add-ons every week?
No, we don't hold them to like an amount, like you have to sell. We don't do the high pressure sales or anything like that.
Right. Okay.
I'm a bigger fan of the cross selling, or like, we can call it like self-booking. That's where they sell a completely different service that's much larger, and they're going to do it at another time.
Sure.
So they're going to get 10% of that, whether they are the technician that does the job or not. If they happen to be the technician that does that job, they'll end up at 25 plus 10.
Okay. So at minimum, they get 10% just on basically quoting a second visit. And then if they actually come out to do it, they're going to get 35%, 25 plus 10%.
Yep. If it happens to land on their schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very good. Yeah. I think at 35% is a very good incentive. I'd have to assume that they're taking advantage of that, right? Like, are they, generally speaking, are they building tickets in the home?
I had other employees in the past, and I tried to like really, cut the profit like as much as I could, and was trying to pay them less and stuff like that. But all it creates is basically a babysitter operation. Like, you have to be profitable, of course, but if you're not paying guys enough, they're always kind of cranky, and they don't want to like go out of their way to do stuff. I mean, you know how that goes.
Money is everything. I don't care what, I think a lot of employers, including big corporations, they try to talk about like, we want to have this sort of environment where people feel special, blah, blah. The only way to make people feel special is by money, period. That's number one. Yeah. And I think that's, you'll see a lot of these bigger HVAC and plumbing companies and home service companies in general. They pay their techs a lot of money. They're paying them a lot of commission, basically, is what it is. Because they figured that out. That's part of the form. They want people to stay. If you want people to perform, there's got to be a money incentive. You can't try to nickel and dime your employees. You can't send people home if it's slow. You got to figure out other stuff for them to do. You got, you know what I mean? It's they're your front line. I mean, they represent your brand. They represent you. They're a part of your growth, and you need to really share in order to make that happen. I think that's critical.
Yeah, it kind of keeps everybody rowing in the same direction. And then
absolutely,
if the profit's not quite there, you just adjust your pricing a little bit. And
exactly, adjust your pricing and look for other services.
One thing I learned that helped me a lot is that I heard from a guy that owns a really large home service company that he basically takes technician pay times 3, and this is total hours for them out for the day. But what you want to factor for your hourly rate for every hour that a technician is out from when they leave the shop to when they come back and clock out is you take the technician pay, multiply it by 3, but he said ideally by 4. So technician pay by 4 tends to work really well for like, especially the cleaning industry or lawn service, stuff like that. It probably doesn't really factor into like HVAC where they're installing, you know, huge furnaces and stuff, but
no. I mean, it makes sense. So if you're at $25 an hour, you want to be billing at $100 an hour, ideally.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And that'll probably keep the volume up, you know, if that guy goes out.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And I think, again, I can't stress how important like that 35% add-on, how great that is, because I know a lot of people, a lot of owners would say, that's too much. That's too much. But that's basically, I mean, for you, it's kind of like free money in a way. Number one, it's motivation for your tech to do a great job and provide excellent service and look for opportunities to help the customer. And then for you, it's basically revenue that would not be there normally.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you want them to win too. You know, that's part of the deal.
Yeah, exactly. So another question, I'm going to go back to Anthony. I always ask great questions. What's the most common problems you see newer companies making? You see them all the time. You're in Pad Life. A lot of startups in there. That's a great question. What are they doing wrong? And that's you speaking from hindsight, of course.
Yeah.
What are the newbies doing wrong? Don't worry about hurting any feelings.
Showing dirty. Well, if we're talking about carpet cleaning specifically, showing too many dirty carpet pictures in their marketing, that's a really bad one. You know, I see a lot of guys doing that. They because like when you're the guy doing the work, you're really like you feel really good about cleaning a super dirty carpet and it comes out amazing. And for you selling the chemicals, those are great. You know, you love those because it makes it look, you know, you see how well Green Dragon works. You see how well Citrus Dragon works.
Sure.
But like, you don't want that on your website. You really don't want that in your Facebook posts, like stuff like that. It's just going to attract. It doesn't resonate with the kind of people that you want to work for at all. And a lot of us know this now. Like, I think a lot of guys didn't know this maybe, you know, a decade ago, but I think a lot of them have figured out, like, if you want to get into the nice homes and they're going to buy lots of services and pay big tickets, you need to have like tasteful pictures. So that would be one.
Yeah.
And then,
how about being undercapitalized? Do you think that's a factor for a lot of upstarts?
Like not enough money to start out with?
Yep.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It goes both ways. Like if I had come out of the gate swinging for the fences and I had like, you know, $200,000, I probably would have just lost it all on buying the wrong stuff. So, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about bootstrapping and having to get out there and shake hands and, you know, do all that, because if you just dive into like super expensive branding and super expensive marketing right off the bat, like those businesses fail at a really high rate. You kind of become disconnected from the, like, really meeting your customers and like shaking hands more. Like you might take off and just, you know, become a huge company. And there's a certain point where you definitely need funding, but yeah, I don't know. It's probably not good. If you're already experienced in business, then I'd say it's a very smart move. But
yeah, I agree with you. You don't want to have too much capital where you're just blowing money and don't care. But I do think you need to have a cash reserve for your first at least 90 days, if not 6 months, just to, you know, your living expenses and things like that, and have enough money for a small marketing budget and you know, 100%. Be able to buy decent equipment, you know what I mean, out the gate. Not that you need a truck mount necessarily, anything elaborate like that, but just some solid core pieces of equipment.
Just not dirty, like used equipment.
I
was at a job site, I think it was either last year or the year before, and it was like a shared driveway, and it was very awkward because we happened to be using a truck mount on that one. So we were running hoses into a house, shared driveway. So there's a house right next to them. And there was a carpet cleaning company that showed up there at the same time with an employee. He wasn't the owner. And this thing was backfiring and shooting water all over the place. And we've had our machine backfire before too. So I'm not, Not saying that, but this thing was gushing
Right.
oil and shooting water all over the place, and it was just a mess. And I saw the homeowner from the other side come outside, and he was kind of looking over at us, and I could tell what he was thinking. You know, he was kind of wondering why this guy's equipment is like about to explode in the driveway. So yeah, you don't want to start with like janky equipment or dirty. Like even if you're going to VLM, you don't want to bring like a rusty floor buffer in somebody's house. Or I used to make jokes about the Oric. I kind of was like trolling a little bit. Like we weren't actually going around with an Oric orbiter all over the place and like cleaning stuff. You know, we use it on stairs. We'd use it on some condos. I'd make some posts kind of joking about it, but yeah, don't go into people's houses with, you know, stuff that just does not look professional at all.
No. I would agree with that. And speaking of professional, I want to bring this up really quick. This is your current layout. You have 4 vehicles. This is your truck mount up there in the front or the foreground, right in the top left. And then
the box truck, yep.
Yeah. And then what's behind that? The high top van. What's
that? That one's an air duct cleaning truck.
Got it. And then these other 2 are for primarily VLM. I take it in showers, stuff like that.
Yeah, one of them is like pretty much strictly carpets, upholstery, stuff like that. And then one of the other ones, we kind of switched that around a little bit. Right now, it's actually set up for like pressure washing and exterior cleaning. There's a water fed pole for doing windows in there, and power washing stuff, surface cleaner, that kind of thing.
Got it.
The box truck, we're going to be adding a large power washing setup in there with a large onboard tank and stuff, because it has room with the truck mount.
Yeah, so, you just need a pump basically, right?
Yeah, we're not going to use that one for really like carpets, maybe like a very particular commercial job, but we're going to try to use that one just for all hard surface cleaning, indoor or outdoors. So we're kind of like marketing that right now, that we can pressure wash in sensitive areas like inside or restaurant patios, stuff like that, and recover the water with vacuum or, you know, regular outdoor pressure washing.
Got it. Wrong one here. Hold on. Sorry. Jason Schmidt asks, I wanted to start doing commercial. What are the best type of businesses to start approach? I'm only VLM at the moment. Now, before you answer that, let me say really quick. You kind of went through an evolution in your services, right? Can you briefly tell us about what you started with back in 2008 and then where you are now? Because you do a lot of commercial work. So I want you to answer that question. But first, I'd like you to give a little background on what you started with service-wise and where you are now.
Like equipment?
Services, like the services you offer. Like carpet cleaning.
In the beginning, in the cleaning industry, it was mostly carpets and upholstery. We were actually called Carpet and Upholstery Cleaning was in our name. And I quickly realized I did not want that. So, in the beginning, an electric truck, portable electric truck mount, which you should know. I don't recommend.
You're running a portable from the van.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it was a cool unit. I bought it from a guy I know just here in Bellingham. And it was a cool
you got it from Bjorn.
Well, yeah, his name's Terry.
Terry Brevik. Yeah.
Yep. I know. Cool unit. It's called the Techno Viking.
Yeah, the Techno Viking. Yeah, they're not bad units. I mean, for what they are. I mean, you're not gonna set the world on fire, but I mean, it gets the job.
Well, it got good vacuum, especially for the vacuums that like the newer vacuums now are even stronger, right? But for what that had back then, it was pretty strong. And it wasn't really the performance of the machine. It's just the setup time. You got power cords, and then you also have hoses, and you also have the water line, and then I had a onboard water tank. So like all of that combined was really time consuming.
I bet. Yeah. Okay. And then eventually you started adding on more commercial services. You got into air duct cleaning, you got into stone, etc. Correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, so back to this question. I want to start doing commercial. What are the best type of businesses to start to approach? I'm only VLM at the moment. What are your thoughts?
You know, We don't do a ton of commercial floor cleaning. We certainly do some. It's not a huge part of our business. I would say anywhere that doesn't have janitorial staff. Because as like some of you guys know, I run the Outreach Overdrive system. We ran it for floor cleaners, and it does not work that well. I know some guys do really well with commercial floor cleaning, but over the course of like the last 7 months, we sent out well over 100,000 emails, probably closer to 150,000 emails. And at least through that, a really common response we got from many, many, many buildings is janitorial handles it, custodial handles it. We have on site already. So it doesn't mean the work's not there. The work is certainly there, and it probably works better to go shake hands and get that kind of stuff in person. But you just have to keep in mind that a lot of these places can hit that stuff themselves. So you want to really, like, churches are a really good one because they're not really going to have janitorial on site. Sometimes they have a little bit of equipment in a closet, but churches, obviously hotels like Steve Pike does, that's a good one. Office buildings where there's like a lot of different tenants in the offices, sometimes they don't have janitorial, but yeah.
Yeah, and there's some janitorial that don't offer floor services. They're only doing the trash, only doing the bathrooms.
Yep, that's true. They just want to do the quick cleaning. Yeah. I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, what I started learning from reaching out to so many buildings is I was like, man, you know, if we were a janitorial company, or these were janitorial companies that we were running it for, this would be a much better offer, because that they really want like everything done. So like if you're VLM only, I mean, maybe consider doing janitorial, because what's attractive about it to me is I always didn't like the idea of it, but then I started learning more about it. And it's like, if you're doing janitorial, you're probably going to get the floor cleaning. You could probably get the
definitely
exterior cleaning. Yeah. And if they have air ducts and dryer vents, like you're going to be, you know, top, you know, front of the line for that kind of stuff. So,
yep. And actually, I did janitorial for a while, and I got most of my janitorial accounts via commercial carpet cleaning. In other words, they play off each other. Absolutely. But there's some janitorial companies, they don't realize how much more money you can make in carpet cleaning and those kind of services, or they just simply don't want to deal with it for whatever reason. But at the end of the day, I think, not speaking for you, but I know your model pretty well. And for commercial, you really like the automated approach with Outreach Overdrive. And like you said, that's not really viable with going out and networking. You want a system in place where it's just going to basically bring you the leads. So
it works way better for exterior, like services that are not so easy for a building to do. Like, you know, if they have like roofs that need to be washed, like that kind of stuff, or gutters.
Yeah, like almost like niche services in a way, not atypical services.
Stuff that's, you know, you got to have ladders and get up there, and this kind of thing. You know, they're not going to be ready for that kind of. Nobody on site's doing that kind of job. So
right. So for those that are wondering, this is Bjorn's duct cleaning, which he does a lot of in the commercial space, and this is highly lucrative. Tell us about like a little bit about like this kind of job. How big was this job? If you don't mind sharing what the ticket was, how long it took, etc.
Yeah, that one was done in one night. I don't remember how many hours. I think the ticket was about 11,000. It looks like a really large space, but it was basically 3 huge trunks that covered that whole. That's a medical manufacturing facility. So you can see Renee there, our technician. He's wearing an anti-static lab coat that they had us wear if we were like working around their stuff. But yeah, that job was we connected negative air to those trunks, blocked off a bunch of vents and areas so we could get suction, and went from one end all the way to the other. It was pretty big building. Had to go up on the roof. Yeah, a lot of those you're going up on the roof, and so you have to know how to open up the rooftop air handlers so you can clean out the plenum up there, clean out the excuse me, clean out the filters and everything, put it all back together.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to get back to the questions really quick because Anthony asked another great question earlier. What do you think about paying, going back to the employees, what do you think about paying a higher hourly wage but getting rid of poor performers quickly and only hiring stars?
Yeah, you could certainly do that. I don't like hourly myself.
There's no incentive.
Nah, just I mean, the incentive is for them to slow down, so I guess that's a bonus. But then, like, how do you know how much they're slowing down? And you're not going to be on these jobs is the thing. So, I mean, ideally, you're not checking in and having to stop by every single job. So you don't really know if they're just like coming out and sitting in their van for a little bit. And I mean, you would think that they're not going to do that because why would they not want to get their day done sooner? But there's just no incentive for them to be efficient. So I don't. Yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't like it.
Next question from Tyler: how do you like Ford Transit Connects? Are they reliable?
Yeah, they've been reliable for us. They're very low miles. I think one has like 40,000 on it. I've heard they aren't great beyond like 150K. So I don't really plan on keeping like vans forever. You know, you use them, try to sell them.
Right. Yeah. Another good question here from Wes Wagner. Did you need license or certifications for commercial air duct cleaning?
No specific licensing, no. And the certifications help, certainly. Our employee that we have here, he came from a NADCA certified company, so he was already very well trained. But certifications are good. You know, if you want to go to the NADCA school, by all means, that's not a bad thing to do. But what I've seen and what I learned from him and other people that have gone through NADCA is it's not going to prepare you for, well, I guess this doesn't pertain to commercial, or maybe it does a little bit, but it's not going to prepare you for the real world. And a lot of these training videos that you see online, it's always in the ideal unfinished basement with exposed ducting everywhere. And the guys are like, you drill a hole and feed it in here. And like, that's just not how it, that's not how it happens, you know, in like residential homes every day. Every system is different. So, but
absolutely.
You'll want insurance for sure. You know, definitely a good insurance policy.
Yeah, absolutely. I say also it's really basically state by state what the requirements might be. Like, you know, like polishing concrete, for example, in Nevada, you have to have a contractor's license. If you're going to do epoxy flooring in Nevada, you have to have a contractor's license. Other states don't require that. So
I think in California, you might need to be a certified HVAC. I could be completely wrong, but I'm not sure what the rules are on HVAC cleaning down there. I think if you're cutting into a furnace, you might need an HVAC license.
Okay, I want to talk a moment about one of the things I think you're really skilled at. You're really good at a lot of stuff. You built a great business, but something you're really accomplished at is data management, customer data management. And I talk to cleaners literally every day. I talk to cleaners that are new, kind of intermediate, say like 5 years or so, and what I would consider veteran cleaners, which would be at minimum 10 years or longer. And the people that struggle the most, they could be brand new, but really the veteran cleaners, I'd say, is their lack of customer knowledge. They don't have any information on their customers. They have no data in place. They don't know who their customers are. They just wait for the phone to ring, keep their fingers crossed. And I think a lot of the veteran cleaners are really struggling these days because there have been so many changes in the market. Right now, we're kind of in a contracted market, in my opinion. There aren't a lot of people spending money on the residential side like they normally do. They're out there, of course, but you got to find them. There's less carpet out there, which is playing a huge factor. I think for a lot of the veteran cleaners, they relied on carpet as their staple service, and that's contracting. And they don't have an email database. You know, they don't have even a phone number database, and they're not really, you know, they're let alone doing Facebook ads or Google ads or other stuff. But talk to us for a minute about data and what that means to you and how much that's impacted your business.
I mean, it's pretty much everything because you have no idea what's going. It's like playing football and not keeping score. Like, how do you even know who's winning? You know, you have no idea what's going on. So obviously you're in the dark. But I'll just give you one example from just the other day. I mean, we're trying to, kick up the schedule a little bit. So because we can do this, we can go custom report and House Call Pro, segment a list of everybody from 2023 that spent $500 or more and pull that list. So I think we pulled a list that was like 753 names, but we specifically sorted it by people that haven't booked yet in 2024. So they spent more than 500 in 2023, but they haven't booked in 2024. That's like prime farming right there. So if you don't know, if you can't do that, I mean, that's kind of at a better level of being able to do that. It's, that's really a great advantage to do that. But even just in general, you can't even text blast all your customers and say, hey, it's time for spring cleaning, which is the most simple thing. You can feed that right into a bunch of different programs and do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, emailing, I mean, you should be emailing we email monthly, every single month. We're blog posting, really stay in front of people. That's super, super important. If you're not, they don't remember you unless you have the most amazing brand in the world. And
they don't know everything you offer. They don't know everything you offer. They might call somebody else for dry or vent cleaning because they don't know you offer it, or stone or whatever. So you send out an email blast once a month. I'm assuming that's to everybody on your list.
Well, what we have is like nurturing campaigns that are built. If you're familiar with High Level, so we have a really built out version of Go High Level that we use. And so it's basically, people are entering it at the stage from when their job was completed, and then depending on what month it is, it'll send them a certain email. So we have one sequence that's just all, like, I guess to explain it better, we have one sequence that's just like seasonal monthly emails, like Mayday, happy springtime, Merry Christmas, like all that stuff, right? People don't really read it. It's just about showing up in their inbox.
Right.
They're not going to unsubscribe from you if they liked your service because there's a little bit of interest there. That one guy, Russell Brunson, talks about that a lot. He's like, you're welcome spam in a sense in their inbox because they're somewhat interested in what you have. Like, they might not buy it right now, but they don't want to like block you and delete you because they know they're going to need it at some point, or possibly.
Absolutely.
So you want to kind of fit into that.
What sort of open rate do you get?
I would have to check. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't really look at that too much. It's just I kind of just let it run.
Right. Yeah.
But we do other ones like 4-month, 120-day sequences. So that one is like 120 days after their job is booked, the system will check what month it is, January through December, and it's going to offer a service that's relevant to that month. Because we have different services. So like duct cleaning is really big in the colder months because everybody's turning on their furnaces. So if the system recognizes it's November and it's been 4 months since that person's job was completed, then it's going to send them a November message. That's probably going to be something like, hey, you're turning your furnace back on. Let's get all that, stuff cleaned out of there before you start running it.
Yeah. And then how often you send out the specialty list, like the people that, like you said, that spent over $500 in 2023 but haven't booked in 2024? Is that kind of just based on your schedule and what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, that's a little more manual because you're pulling the list like from your database, and then you're going to load it into a certain workflow and then let that run. And then like texting, we do texting kind of like quarterly. I try to, or even less. That one you want to be really careful with texting people because you'll quickly annoy them. You can email a lot, but when it comes to texting, you want to kind of be careful with it, because
how often do you text?
Like
Like
the
group
text
text,
blasting
mass text,
would be quarterly.
just quarterly. Do you get a lot of opt-outs when you do that? Do you see in versus email?
Yep, it's actually good because it makes you realize where your database really is.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get a lot of people responding, "Hey, we don't even live there anymore. We moved." That's
Right.
one thing that we've battled a lot over the last like 3 years, is lots of people leaving Seattle.
Okay.
Real estate exploded here. A lot of people took advantage of that. A lot of equity went way up, and they said, "I'm moving to, Boise," or
Yeah, so they're going to Idaho or Wyoming or whatever. Right.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. Okay. When they opt out of, or just kind of a side question, when they opt out of text, does that mean that they're also going to be opted out of the email as well, or just the text?
It will opt them out of just the text. If they're responding, if they get a text and they say stop or out, it'll just DND them, do not disturb, on the text side.
Got it.
They'll still get the emails. Yep.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. All right. I'm going to bring up another picture here really quick while we're chatting. You can tell me about this service here.
Well, dryer vents, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
And that's something I always recommend to a lot of people, that especially like the new people starting up, because dryer vent cleaning can be pretty lucrative, and generally an easy add-on. What impact has that on your business?
It's a great service. It's a great lead magnet. Like if you're familiar with like a lead magnet, like dryer vent cleaning, we do the full machine and dryer cleaning. So we clean out the machine itself and the dryer vent. But you can offer something like an exterior blowout only for a pretty low price, just to draw people into your database. Because if you have all the follow-ups in place and all that stuff there, then it's just kind of a game of just like getting lots of people into your ecosystem. And if you can get 1,000 new people into your ecosystem every year, your business is going to keep growing, because you're going to nurture them for all the other services and stuff like that. And
right now,
for dryer vents specifically, it's a great service. Like,
yeah,
you can go out and do 2, and that's 500 right there on your day.
So you're charging $250.
Yeah, we're about we're not the cheapest on it. I know there's some people that are like maybe 100, but the main thing is you definitely want to clean the dryer out itself. And so when people ask why our price is more, we definitely just like default to we're cleaning the dryer, not just the vent. Because
so the 250 is the whole Monty.
Huh? Yeah.
The 250 is the whole package. Okay, got it. Okay, no, that makes sense. They're getting much more bang for their buck, versus, just like you said, just versus a blowout. So I got you. Now you basically use that as a way to, as like you said, a lead magnet. Are you marketing that lead magnet on Facebook, or is that Google? Where are you doing postcards? How are you getting these customers? And then my second part of that question is, of those customers, how many of them are converted into floor cleaning or pressure washing or additional services?
I don't have an exact percentage right here without running
digging in deep. I got you.
Well, I'd have to run like a custom report to tell you exactly, but like the dryer vent, we don't currently use that as a lead magnet. I was just giving a suggestion that type of service can be a really good one.
Sure.
Any quicker service is a good lead magnet, but be careful to use any service that a renter might want. So that's why you don't want to do those like one room of carpet for X amount, because you're going to get renters. Nothing against them, but you don't want a database full of people that are renting. You want a database full of homeowners at the end of the day. So yeah, like lead magnets, or we use other lead magnets, but basically we use those to just get people coming into filling out the form, and then we get them into the ecosystem. But we use like Facebook, definitely, Google, definitely, SEO, like organic Google, Those are really the main ones. Like it's going to be either pretty much Facebook or Google.
What would be your recommended lead magnets for a startup?
For carpet cleaning?
Yeah, I'd say any kind of like upstart service providers. You know, a lot of times I don't think personally, I think you need to offer more than just carpet cleaning these days. I get minimum, you need to be offering or at least advertising LVT, maybe dryer vents and things like that. So what would you recommend for the startups? If Bjorn was starting up again in 2024.
Yeah. Probably like a single rug for a good price. I don't feel like that many people renting. Well, yeah, some of them have rugs. Yeah, it's a tough one when it's sort of like carpets, upholstery, because you really like.
No, I'm saying additional services. I was saying like would dryer vents be something that you would offer, regardless if your core business is carpet or not? In other words, something that's gonna get the phone ringing without competing with umpteen million other service providers.
Yeah, you can kind of squeeze your way in through Facebook ads with a good, really enticing offer. And it's okay when the price is a little bit low. You just want to make sure it's going to the right people.
Right.
Like a lot of people are really caught up on that initial sale, but if you have all the other stuff in place, it's okay to have something that's a great deal. I like window cleaning a lot. I think window cleaning is a great service. The search volume is really, really high. It tends to be reoccurring. Like a lot of like better homeowners do it twice a year, spring and fall. So, I mean, that's a really good one. But dryer vents is certainly a good one. A lot of people need their dryer vent cleaned out, and a lot of them don't think of it. So sometimes those services that people don't think of very often because they can't really see it, those work really well for Facebook. Like roof cleaning, they're not always looking at their roof. Carpets, they see it all the time, so they might actively go look for it. But
right,
dryer vents, that's like out of sight, out of mind. So Facebook ads remind them of it.
Yeah, and I think there's probably less competition in the dryer vent ads, you know what I mean, then there might be versus like carpet cleaning. I would think I'd have to research it. I'm sure there's some that are doing it, but you know, that's like one of the things where you have like a really good video of like the dryer vent being cleaned out and all the debris coming out of the vent and all that stuff. I mean, people that would really catch people's attention.
Yeah, those really work well. Convert. I think the one thing to just be like super, super aware of if you are like primarily offering carpets is just like when it comes to service businesses, like one thing I learned is that there's different types, and pretty much any business that offers a service of any kind, like whether it's like a salon or whatever it is, there's low ticket, high ticket, and then there's high ticket recurring and low ticket recurring. So you have to understand that carpet fits into that weird spot where it's low ticket and not really recurring. Like you're not lawn mowing. And if you compare it to like lawn mowing, the average ticket is not that different. And like I have landscapers at my house, you know, they get more than most guys minimum charge for a carpet cleaning every single month from us all throughout the lawn mowing season. So if you compare that business model to like just carpet cleaning, you kind of realize what you're up against. And that's why it's so important to add extra services. Yeah. Because you're like, you can reoccur for carpet cleaning, but by reoccurring, I mean, it's like every month or every 2 weeks. And by low ticket, I mean under $2,000. Like I've read in a lot of business books, anything $2,000 or over is considered high ticket, for at least at that scale. But high ticket reoccurring is like, those are some of the best service businesses there are. Like you have someone paying you every month more than $2,000.
Right.
And low ticket recurring can be a really good business too. And that way you can focus on that initial sale and not worry too much about how much you're getting out of the initial sale. And you're just focused on building your client list. But like carpet cleaning is a little bit of a tough one because you're not on a contract with anybody. So that's why it's super, super important to take everybody that you have a transaction with and try to turn them into a multi-buyer, or try to get them to come back on some kind of a reoccurring, like 6 months, sign them up for something. Even if they don't want to book for 6 months, just like go in your House Call Pro or whatever and just schedule them for 6 months. And that's when you're going to give them a call and say, hey, it's been 6 months.
Yeah, which says a lot about how important the service is, having services to offer beyond just one or two. You know, offering just upholstery and carpet isn't going to give you the opportunity to service somebody every 6 months. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
No, if you look at all the groups and like all the years I've been in the forums and everything like that, I can tell you, like, the guys that grow a primarily carpet cleaning business beyond $1 million are pretty much an anomaly.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of them now are offering, they're either doing damage restoration, or they're doing stone, or they're doing even exterior services, or they're doing ducts, stuff like that. So yeah. I mean,
well, some of them got there with carpets and then they got really big from like water damage or something. But
right,
the amount that get there to that like 7-figure from like primary carpets, upholstery, and like your typical tile cleaning, it's very, very, very few. It's a low percentage. Whereas
you have to have a basket of services. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And it's just because the average ticket and it's non-recurring. But when you look at, like, if you spend time in the exterior groups, is why I got a little more interested in it. I was like, wow, there's a really high percentage of guys that are like in that $1.2 to $1.5 million range doing exterior services. And then you look at what all their average ticket is, and it's like $1,600 to $1,800. And that's really the only difference. You know, the two models are very similar otherwise. So
yeah, that makes sense. We're going to talk about these services here more in a minute, but I want to get to Anthony's quick question. I recently started email marketing my existing clients, and I've gotten good feedback from those that booked from the email I sent out. They were appreciative of the reminder and the deal they received. Yeah, I mean, email marketing definitely works 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, again, I think a lot of cleaners fall short. They just have no customer records, no phone numbers, no email addresses, let alone the services they had purchased and things of that nature. I mean, your CRM and your data management is way more robust than most out there, but it's played just a huge part in your success.
Yeah, I think it's also like making sure, I was talking with another cleaner about this recently, but it's making sure you're balanced on the front end marketing versus the back end marketing. So like a lot of guys, even some of the bigger guys, are spending a lot of money on the front end marketing, like blasting Google, blasting Facebook ads, blasting all that stuff. And maybe they might be spending like $8,000 or $10,000 on Google ads per month. But on the back end marketing to their existing base, it's not just emails. Like, you can spend money there. Wow. They're spending like $0, where you want to kind of balance that a little bit. Like, you can spend a lot to retain your current customers. I mean, you can send them gifts, like all that stuff really works.
Oh, absolutely.
So you can take at least to just dedicate, if you're spending that much, at least dedicate a few thousand to 3,000 maybe a month. Like, if you're at that level, to just like send your best customers, like take that list and take everybody that spent a good ticket and send them a gift or something. So
we do it every year. We send out our coffee cups and all that. Yeah, I mean, it helps. Yep. People appreciate it, and people want to be recognized. I mean, it's, I believe that only people can make people feel good. You know what I mean? I know we're in a world where automation is big, and we want to use AI to communicate and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, people at some point want to engage with other people. That's why I kind of rebel against online booking systems. I think they're important to have, and I'm actually going to ask about that now. But I think online booking systems are important. Some people are going to utilize it, but a lot of people, they want to talk to someone. They want to get to know who's going to be coming out to their home, especially if they're going inside their home. But let alone charging a big ticket, even exterior services. I think they want to really talk to somebody. What's your experience been with that? Like phone versus automated booking and things like that. Where do you stand with it?
I agree 100%, especially like I talk to other guys that have like marketing agencies and stuff like that. And some of them have a lot of clients. And one thing they've noticed is that like Google has gotten really expensive this year, even in just the last like 3 months. Google ads have like skyrocketed. We experienced the same thing. And so, and that's just because anybody can put a credit card on Google. So not to go off of your question there, but I think it's going back to more like handshaking and baby kissing and
right.
like anybody can put like you probably heard from what guys are saying about Google local services. It's pretty bad right now. They lowered the standard for who can get on there because the more companies on there, the more money Google makes. Google loves when people come on there and price shop like 7 companies. They're getting $60 a call in this area for every single one of them. And same with Google ads, the clicking. It's really easy to load a credit card onto Google. Anyone can do that. Any one of your competitors can do that. So at a certain point, it's going to like, how can you be different? And like, you kind of have to go back to that, like personalization and meeting people, and everybody can use AI pictures and clip art. And so like the clip art websites are pretty trash nowadays where they
I think people can see through it. I think people know. I think people are people know like, oh, this is fake. This is, you know.
Yeah, there's guys in other countries throwing up those landing pages in 2 seconds and slapping a credit card on Google ads and selling the leads and stuff like that. And it's not that it doesn't really work anymore. Like clip art sucks, you know, AI images suck. You don't really want an AI booking your jobs and stuff. Like you're trying to be like a local community business. So you really need to like be that, you know, you need to kind of be the part.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, you know, having that communication, ability to talk to people, and, you know, especially if you want to be a top dollar provider, you know, if you want to get big tickets and maintain that relationship, you better be willing to talk to people. I can't imagine not. You know, I just think it's crazy. Do you allow booking online, or do you insist on that they call?
Only we have an HVAC company that sends us duct cleanings. They're the only ones that really have
That's different because they're working with the customer. So they're
it just makes it they can book their customer on our thing, so they have their own link and then they can
sure.
No, it's not on our website.
Right. I agree. Anthony, again, another great question. How can I learn more about duct cleaning for dryer vents, air ducts? Are there any good resources? I know there's a lot of debate out there, man. Negative air, it sucks, it's good, it's bad. Or there's all different kinds of systems. Where can he learn more about it? That's a really good question.
Yeah. Man, the field experience is the best. You know, if you can find someone like maybe not right in your market, but an hour or 2 away, 3 hours away, that's what I would do, because you really want to like see how it works in a real home, and then see if it's a good service for you. I like it a lot because it's like it's not like really like some things with stone, like you can ruin somebody's stone, or like some surfaces there's a chance like a technician could destroy it. They could break a furnace, but then you call an HVAC company. You know, we've bumped wires before. Luckily, we have a really good relationship with an HVAC company. They can come and fix it. Right. But in general, it's a service that's like a pretty good sized ticket on average, and then it's really easy to go out and do it. So I would definitely recommend adding that service. But I think the best resource is somebody that's near you and you can go shadow them. You can watch a lot of videos online. You can definitely go to one of the training schools too. I think there's some guys like in the groups too that offer Ron Papke. I think you can go visit him, and he has like a deal where you can go and do a bunch of duct cleanings for a few days. That's a great way to do it.
Sure. Makes sense. All right. Speaking of services, something that you're doing a lot of are showers. And that's been a big part of your business the last few years. Why do you like showers? What are you averaging on these shower jobs? And does that have that same level of ease of mind like ducts where it's difficult to break it so to speak.
Yeah, most showers are pretty hard to break.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite as good as duct cleaning in that sense. But if you have like one technician that you know is a little more mechanically inclined, I guess I'd say, or they have like good attention to detail, you could just train one guy to it. Or if you yourself as the owner or operator, it's a good one to get into. The demand is really, really high. Showers are just a super wet environment in everybody's home, and they're hard to maintain. But I will say, like, if we were in an area that had extremely hard water, I don't know if it's a service that I would offer.
Because
those homes, I would be more interested in catching the problem beforehand, like installing water, like selling people water filters for their house, because like once the shower is super trashed with hard water, that's a tough job.
Sure.
And sometimes it's so bad, like, is it, are they going to pay it? You could almost rip the shower out or retile it or something.
Yeah. Now you're offering, what are you actually charging on average for showers, or what's your hourly average working out on your shower jobs?
So if it's a half day, I would price it around 2,000. I'm sorry. If it's a half day, I would price it around 1,200. If it's a full day, like around 2,200, 2,000 to 2,200.
Okay. Do you find a lot of resistance at that price?
No, not in the right homes. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Because the thing is you kind of approach it like, this is how much replacement costs. So it's good to know the cost of like putting in a new shower. And then there aren't a lot of companies offering that kind of service. We have a few in our area. There's like a franchise. There's not a lot that are doing like the full restoration. There's obviously some that do tile cleaning, but yeah.
Okay. Do you do the estimates in home for showers?
Well, that's a good one about the showers. They can just send a picture. You don't really need to go there.
Okay.
A lot of times we just have them take a picture of it and send it in.
Okay. Any services that you do in-home estimates, or do you try to do most of it? Like which ones?
Exterior.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The exterior is a great one to estimate in person, because they'll call for the windows, and then if they have moss on the roof, you're going to quote the roof. If the gutters look pretty dirty, you quote the gutters, and then here's like the bundle price. But then what works really good is then we have door hangers. I don't have any close by, but our door hangers have pricing on the back and then a bundle price section. So then you can hit every neighbor around where you just quoted.
Oh, for like a 5 around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the biggest benefit of exterior is customers don't need to be there while you're doing the work. They don't need to be there while you're doing the quote.
Yeah.
There's huge advantages to it.
I actually have a marketing. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Tell me.
Oh, I was just going to say, like with the carpets, you get the calls where it's like, my kid woke up sick. I got to cancel this big job on you. We get those, especially when it's back to school time. We get hammered with those sick kid cancellations and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually working on a marketing piece similar to what you talked about with the door hanger. I'm hoping to have it ready next week finally, but it kind of ties in with what you were talking about. I'll show it to you when it's ready. I think it'll be pretty cool.
Oh, I got mine right here. I'll show you. So.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. It's going to be something similar to that. You'll see. Yeah. You'll see it next week. I think you'll like it. It's not going to be a door hanger. It's not a door hanger, but it's similar. Oh yeah. That's awesome. I like it. That's very good. You offer. I'm gonna let people know out there. People are interested in doing showers, which are very lucrative. You actually offer a online tutorial, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Do you have like a link for it? Is there a name? Is it kind of complicated? I can type it in really quick. If not,
let me see. I can send it to you on Facebook, probably.
Send it to me on Messenger really quick, and I'll put it up here while we continue to talk. Sure. While you send that to me, I'm going to bring up this really quick. This is one of your exterior jobs, mm-hmm. and you've gotten, like you mentioned earlier, with the 5-around piece and stuff like that, you've gotten more and more into exterior work. It's becoming a bigger part of your business. Do you see the growth of the company being led by exterior services? Do you see yourself transitioning more to an exterior operation, or creating a division for it? How do you envision all this working out for you?
Oh yeah, if you look at our website, so we have 3 sections basically. We have interior cleaning, exterior cleaning, and then duct and dryer vent cleaning. Those are like our 3 segments. but yeah, definitely we've been slowly but surely transferring into like full property service cleaning.
Okay, so you're gonna continue with the interior work, but also focusing on exterior services.
Oh yeah, not getting rid of the interior. No, I mean we love the interior stuff. It's great. But I think exterior just makes the ceiling a lot higher for us, until we reach a certain point, and then you need like really big tickets to get beyond that. But yeah, I feel like exterior cleaning is going to take us, pretty far. I see a lot of guys.
Send me that link. I haven't gotten that link yet.
Yeah, I was searching for it. I don't have it right here. I'd have to.
All right. Well, anybody that's interested in learning more about showers, I know a couple of people have gotten Bjorn's tutorial and they really liked it. They got a lot of information. It includes a lot of tools in there for you to understand it, to market it, etc. So I would definitely say take advantage of that. It's not very expensive at all, and it gives you a lot of insight on how to offer this service. My one last question for you: are you concerned about offering too much? In other words, offering too many services where you feel like you could have lack of techs that have knowledge to do it, or nothing? You're not concerned about any of that?
No, some guys get concerned about not being focused on like one service, but what I've realized when it comes to cleaning, people just want, someone they can trust in their home, good communication, great customer service, and proof that you do a good job. I mean, we're not going to like start installing toilets and like hanging your flat screen TV or anything, but
right.
When it comes to cleaning, our marketing is strictly around like, a clean, healthy home inside and out. And that's where we're kind of going in that direction. So awesome. The only challenge I will say is like on your Google business profiles, we have a couple, you do have to choose a primary service.
What's your primary service?
At one location, it's air duct cleaning, and we're like crushing the SEO ranking in that area. So we're happy about that. If you scan the heat map, like we're like 1, 2, or 3 in like a lot of pretty big mile radius. And then at the other location, I think it's still set at carpet cleaning down there, but we are probably going to change that to the exterior category.
Oh, excellent.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Bjorn, awesome information. Thank you. We had a lot of great questions. Yeah, no problem. Anybody wants to learn more about the shower cleaning, reach out to Bjorn directly. Also, he has a program called Outreach Overdrive, which is an automated marketing campaign for commercial work, specifically for ducts, pressure washing, things of that nature, exterior services basically, and duct cleaning.
Just exterior and ducts now is all we're running.
So. But it's done very well for him, and it's done well for other clients. It's not going to be a carpet cleaning or, more of a commodity service marketing tool. It's definitely going to be for more of the niche services. So if you have questions about that, reach out to him. Again, that's Outreach Overdrive, and then also the shower tile tutorial. Any more questions before we log out, everybody? I don't think so. I think we got this wrapped up. All right. I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Bjorn, thanks a lot for joining us.
Yep.
And we'll chat soon, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Damon. Have a good one.
You too. Goodbye.